Okay, scanning and skimming are actually reading strategies. So, what exactly is scanning? Okay, scanning is actually a strategy where you run your eyes down the text searching for important or keywords as well as the most outstanding facts. In fact, when we scan, we actually have a question in mind that we want to find the answer in the text, and the acceptable rates will actually be 1,000 words per minute, and you have to totally and absolutely understand the whole text. Also, um, a lot of people might think that scanning is very easy, but to scan and to achieve 100% comprehension is not an easy task. Okay, so what can you do? First of all, have a mental outline or visualization of how is it structured. So you have to ask yourself, is it a book? Is this an article? Is it a newspaper article? An essay? What is it? So to if you know what you are actually reading and how long it is, for example, then it's easier to scan because you know the organization of each of these materials. So next, you actually use the heading or the bolded text, okay, to give you the gist of the general whole idea, so that before you read you already know what is it roughly about. However, for more complex material you will need a more thorough background knowledge. For example, you need to understand the topic first before reading and going into it to be able to scan. So scanning is different from reading. Reading is to read word for word verbatim. However, scanning is just go through very very fast with without actually stopping and underlining words like many students actually do these days. Next, speed and accuracy. You have to move your eyes in a scanning pattern and don't stop until you find the specific information you are looking for. Normally for scanning, actually a lot of students they will use scanning. Number one, during final exam, for example, in English we have comprehension, and you need to look for the answers in the passage, so you actually do scanning. And if you do your assignments, you are also looking for specific information, so you have a goal, you have an objective in mind when you scan. To make scanning more easier, you actually use your hand or your finger to move through the text, and do not over focus on every word of it, just go through it quickly with a soft focus. So why should you scan? First of all, students, when they start reading a new text, right, they will read it word by word, and this is very bad because it will actually affect the general understanding of the passage. Because you keep reading and reading and reading, you have lost the true essence of the true meaning of the text, and the time taken to finish reading can be so long that the final results will be different already. Some people get fed up, they stop reading altogether, and in the long run, what they have read is already lost, they've forgotten, or they have lost focus on what they are actually reading. So skimming, the next one is skimming. Skimming is actually another type of reading strategy. Skimming is to pass through the material very quickly as you can, while getting a general holistic view of the content. So with skimming, we only take about 1 minute. We just go through the text really quickly and just get a general idea. The acceptable rates are around 100, 800 to 1,500 words per minute, and you do not need to actually understand the whole text. Okay, so 50% of comprehension is fine. Okay, so let's look at the differences between skimming and scanning. Okay, let's look at this. Scanning is to run through the entire text with speed and accuracy, but in skimming, you do not read the whole text. You are just going to read the main ideas only. Okay, and with scanning, you have to totally and 100% absolutely understand what you are reading. But with skimming, 50 to 60% only. Scanning, it has to be fast, but skimming, it has to be twice as fast. So how can you improve your skimming technique? First of all, do a preview of the length. How long is your material? Read the title so that it gives you a general overview. The subtitle, if there's any. The publication. Is it a book? Is it a journal? Is it an essay? Article? What is it? Okay? And also look for pictures. A picture paint 1,000 words. So this will actually give you a general idea already before you even start skimming. Okay, so when you skim, there are three parts that you have to read, or you have to go through. Okay, which is the first paragraph, usually the introduction, where they will tell you all the jazz, the information, the background information, and then just read the first sentence of the key paragraphs, the body paragraphs, and read the last paragraph, because that's when they will sum up all the key ideas and main ideas that they have stated previously. Also, when you scan, vary your rate, meaning when you are reading key parts, important areas, read it carefully, so you have to slow down. When you are actually reading unimportant or irrelevant parts that are minor details, you can just raise past or just leave it out. Okay, so that is how you skim. Okay, so with everything, practice makes perfect. Okay, make sure you check your comprehension. Okay, whether or not when you skim and scan, whether you understand or not, because at the end of the day, right, it all boils down to whether you understand or not the general idea, or be it the text. If you don't understand, there's no point in skimming and scanning. Also, you practice makes perfect. Skim regularly and often. The more you practice, the better you will be at it, so that you will get a hang of out of it. Okay, so why do you want to skim? It improve other reading rates. Actually, it makes you read faster. Also, it keeps you informed. In today's day and age, right, we are living in this modern era where everything is so accessible to us. Unlike in the olden days, when you actually want to read something, you have to go to library or a book. But today, we have it in our smartphones, our laptops, our tablets. So, but then we cannot read word for word for all the articles online. So we use skimming, because skimming is so important, and it helps us to become more knowledgeable, and it actually keeps us informed. Okay, it could be anything, it could be issues around the world, issues concerning our country, anything. Okay, and it increases our sources of reference, so when we write, we have something to write, because when there's no input, there's no output. Also, it brings useful material to your attention. If we are able to skim, we are able to grasp and actually skim through 50 to 100 articles a day, no problem. When we are free, we skim, we read, we are actually making widening our general knowledge, which is a very good idea. Because if you look at today's generation, even though everything is so accessible, so readily available online, if you ask anyone on the street, they wouldn't know what is happening around the world, what is happening in our country. They don't. And if you can skim effectively, you will able to be that very knowledgeable person. That is why skimming is very important. Okay, when you are now that you know what is skimming and what is scanning, you can actually test your reading speed on this free readingtest.com website. First, time yourself, give yourself 1-2 minutes to skim down the text, and then after that you will answer some questions. They will actually rate your comprehension, and then after that, try scanning, where you scan everything and see how many words per minute, and whether or not you achieve 100% comprehension. That's all for this lesson. Thank you.